I want to welcome everybody to the rebirth of Shank. For those that know me, know me. And for those who don't know me, I hope you had a chance to get to know me.
Period.
So you wouldn't have a problem with a man taking charge, even if you made
no. He has to take charge. I don't want no man that I can, you know what I'm saying, that I take charge of. Nah.
A lack of finance, resources, and some other things is a probable cause for anyone to suffer from mental illness.
No, she's not. She spreads lies. She wants to humiliate the moms. That's what she does.
I wanted to bring you guys breaking news. I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Bodycam footage shows correctional officers beating Rochester inmate before his death. But before we get started with this demonstration, I would like for everybody to send out condolences to the Robert Brooks family. Salute Shano, salute to the replay gang, salute to my moderator, salute to the chat. All right, y'all, let's get into this body cam footage.
Death of an inmate at a prison in New York after he was beaten by corrections officers. Today, New York's Attorney General released body cam video and called what happened shocking and disturbing. Here's Sam Brock, and a warning, this video is graphic.
Newly released shocking video shows these correctional officers fatally beating an inmate, Robert Brooks. The footage, blurred and redacted by state authorities, shows officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest and trying to jam an object down his throat. New York's Attorney General says Brooks was pronounced dead December 10th, a day after these interactions with correctional officers was recorded.
I do not take lightly the release of this video.
James says the video doesn't have audio because the officers involved failed to properly activate their body cameras. It begins with Brooks being carried inside, handcuffed and face down. He's then raised up, face bloodied, and punched in various parts of his body. Brooks was serving a 12-year sentence for stabbing his girlfriend. His attorney says his death is incomprehensible.
I was there with Mr. Brooks' son and his father and his brother. They all watched the video as well, and I think it was just the overwhelming shock. It was just felt so incomprehensible.
NBC News has not been able to reach attorneys for the 14 people under investigation, but the president for the Correction Officers Benevolent Association adding in a sharply worded statement, the egregious and repugnant action of the officers who committed this heinous and fatal assault does not in any way reflect the values of the vast majority of correction officers, including my members.
13 personnel are currently suspended without pay. Another has resigned as the investigation continues. And yet, Tom, there are still questions tonight about what happened that led to the beating that we just saw. Tom?
2025, we are still, as black men, as black women, as black children, we are still being treated like animals. When you watch the video, you will be under the assumption that that's an animal that those correctional officers are dealing with. we see it over and over. Salute, Jamie. Salute, Jamie. Salute to everybody that's tuning in by Facebook. I see you, Jamie. Salute to everybody that's tuning into this demonstration by way of Facebook. Now, we know that they're going to say, well, because there's no audio, it's hard to determine what instigated this, because surely these correctional officers wouldn't have just done this to this man. Surely these correctional officers wouldn't have beaten this man the way that they beat him. And by we don't have the audio, we don't know if he instigated it. We don't know what he said to them that provoked them to beat him. So it's hard to determine. And then you're going to have those that are going to say, well, he shouldn't have been locked up in the first place, because I hear this all the time. People will say, well, if you don't break the law, then you won't have to worry about these things happening to us. You know, they make up so many excuses. Salute, Sages. Then they're going to say, well, wasn't he locked up for stabbing his girlfriend? You know, when it comes to us, even when we are the victims, they find a way to justify whatever it is that happens to us. They find a way to justify it, even when we are the victims. As Black men, as Black women, as Black children, we can never be the victims. And when I do demonstrations, and many of my non-Blacks, you know, always say to me, Shankra, can we just stop talking about race? And what do I tell all non-Black people that says that to me? I say, I would love to do demonstrations where I don't have to talk about race. I would love to be able to do a demonstration where I don't have to refer to Black people, white people, so forth and so forth. However, until white people learn how to treat Black people better, I'm going to always talk about Black people, especially when we are the victims. And if you've been following me long enough, if you've been listening to me long enough, you know, when Black people aren't the victims, when Black people are doing a bunch of dumb shit, you know I'm quick to call Black people out on the dumb shit that they do. So if you can rock with me when I call out Black people for the dumb shit that they do, then for surely you can rock with me when I talk about Black people being victims. Saget says, you can't stop until all the discrimination stop. And I can't. And what we see in this clip is unexcusable. You cannot dress this up. Robert Brooks did not deserve to be brutally beaten, which ultimately cost him his life. You can see where they're trying to shove something down Mr. Robert Brooks' throat. You could see how they're kicking him. You could see how they're hitting him. You could see that he's handcuffed by the back. You could see that he's shackled. I've been in shackles before. I had my handcuff. I had the handcuffs behind my back. I can't do nothing. A little kid can have his or her way with me if I'm shackled and if I got handcuffs on me behind my back. I can't do nothing. Mr. Brooks, he couldn't do nothing. Bloody nose, busted up mouth, broken jaw. For what? I'll tell y'all for what. And I'm going to be straight to the point. I'm going to call a spade a spade. It's the evil. It's the evil that are in those correctional officers' heart. And I talk about the evil. I talk about the hearts of men and women. And I talk about how hard some of our hearts are. Those men have hard hearts. Their hearts are full of evil. And many of you all accept that. You got a lot of folks that won't accept it. Some of them accept it. They know who they are. They know what's in their heart. And every chance that they get, they show us what's in their hearts. Let's go back to the clip. And by the way, I'm going to run this clip, and I'm going to run this clip, and I'm going to run this clip because I want the people to let this clip, let it sink in. Let's look. And if there's anybody out there that disagrees with this, tell me.
The death of an inmate at a prison in New York after he was beaten by corrections officers. Today, New York's Attorney General released Bodycam video and called what happened shocking and disturbing. Here's Sam Brock, and a warning, this video is graphic.
Newly released shocking video shows these correctional officers fatally beating an inmate, Robert Brooks. The footage, blurred and redacted by state authorities, shows officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest.
Let me guess. He didn't comply with the correctional officers. Let me guess. See right there, Shank Rock? See right there? He's moving. He's twitching. If he would have just remained still, Shank Rock, then they wouldn't have hit him. They wouldn't have kicked him, Shank Rock. If he wouldn't have remained still. If you have ever been beaten before, you ain't gonna lay still. I've been banked before. I've had 3 people bank me, 3 people beat on me. I'm twitching. I'm trying to get up. This is blasphemy. We're going into another year with the same racism that we've been experiencing in this country for over 400 years. I know what y'all gonna say, but Shank, when Trump get in office, Trump is going to give those cops immunity. It's not about Trump. Trump is not in office. He's the president, but he's not in office right now. And look what is happening. Look what has been happening for the whole 4 years that Trump wasn't in office. We cannot keep using Donald Trump as the scapegoat. What is the Biden administration doing about the racism towards Black people? What have Obama's administration, what is these presidents, what is the administrations doing? And I know. But Shank, the president cannot stop that. Well, why is it so much focus on Trump giving them immunity? This is what I have to tell Black people. This is what I have to tell y'all. It's not going to get any better. It's not. It's not going to get any better. And the reason why these things happen to us, the reason why we get treated the way we get treated, because the rest of the world knows. You even got the immigrants coming to America. The immigrants are treating us the same way that white people have been treating us for 400 years. The Middle Eastern men, when they come to this country and they open up shop in our communities, they treat us like shit. They talk to us like shit. Yes, they do. The Asians been treating us like shit, and we still patronize those Asian nail salons. We still patronize those Asian beauty shops. The Hispanics, the Mexicans, they treat us like shit. You even got the Dominicans that's black, but even the Dominicans treat us like shit. Because we'll crash out. We'll crash out on another black person. Right now, it's a line of black people that's waiting to crash out on Shank-Rock. And Shank-Rock ain't done nothing to nobody but try to uplift the community. But it's a line of people that's ready to crash out on Shank-Rock, but won't crash out on those that disrespect our community. What they did to this man, what they did to the brother, is unacceptable.
The death of an inmate at a prison in New York after he was beaten by corrections officers. Today, New York's Attorney General released Bodycam video and called what happened shocking and disturbing. Here's Sam Brock, and a warning, this video is graphic.
Newly released shocking video shows these correctional officers fatally beating an inmate, Robert Brooks. The footage, blurred and redacted by state authorities, shows officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest and trying to jam an...
And this happened in New York. This ain't happened in the dirty, dirty South. This didn't happen in the South. Because you know New Yorkers are famous. New Yorkers are famous for talking about how great it is in New York. New York is famous for putting down the South and other regions of the United States of America. Well, if New York is such this great place, why has this happened to a New Yorker in 2025? I believe the homeless man that was black, that was killed on the subway, I believe that too happened in New York. And I believe that the guy that took his life, I believe that he got off. When is it going to stop? Salute, Cotan. Salute. When is it going to stop?
The death of an inmate at a prison in New York after he was beaten by corrections officers. Today, New York's Attorney General released Bodycam video and called what happened shocking and disturbing. Here's Sam Brock, and a warning, this video is graphic.
Newly released shocking video shows these correctional officers fatally beating an inmate, Robert Brooks. The footage, blurred and redacted by state authorities, shows officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest and trying to jam an object down his throat. New York's Attorney General says Brooks was pronounced dead December 10th, a day after these interactions with correctional officers was recorded.
I do not take lightly the release of this video.
James says the video doesn't have audio because the officers involved failed to properly activate their body cameras. It begins with Brooks being carried inside, handcuffed and face down. He's then raised up, face bloodied, and punched in various parts of his body. Brooks was serving a 12-year sentence for stabbing his girlfriend. His attorney says his death is incomprehensible.
I was there with Mr. Brooks' son and his father and his brother. They all watched the video as well, and I think it was just the overwhelming shock. Just it was just felt so incomprehensible.
NBC News has not been able to reach attorneys for the 14 people under investigation, but the president for the Correction Officers Benevolent Association adding in a sharply worded statement, "The egregious and repugnant action of the officers who committed this heinous and fatal assault does not in any way reflect the values of the vast majority of correction officers, including my members."
13 personnel are currently suspended without pay. Another has resigned as the investigation continues. And yet, Tom, there.
So you got one of them that has resigned. You got the other 13 has been suspended without pay. Now we know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen to the one that resigned. Salute Tanya. Salute Tanya. Appreciate you for pulling up. We know what's going to happen to the one officer that resigned. They're going to end up working at another correctional facility. We know that. Now, when you look at it and you look at that video and you see those white correctional officers, you don't see not one black correctional officer at all. And you could see it in their eyes. You could look at the look in their eyes. Nobody tried to intervene. Nobody. The man is handcuffed. The man is shackled. Like I said, if you've been handcuffed before, if you've been in shackles before, you can't do nothing. You can't. I've been in shackles. I didn't been in handcuffs. I can't do nothing. Nothing. I'm defenseless. They kicked him. They stomped him. They beat him. They tried to stuff something down his throat. What was that about? It was 8 of them. He cannot do nothing. Can't go nowhere. Then you could see they just standing around laughing at him, just laughing. The man lost his life. The man got family. Y'all don't care nothing about us. Y'all don't care nothing about us at all. And it's always justified. Y'all always find a way to justify and sweep it up under the rug. Y'all are not above the law. It don't make a difference what he was locked up for. He was sentenced, I believe, to 12 years. He was already sentenced for the crime that he committed. Y'all are correctional officers. Y'all had no business beating him. Period. Y'all had no business beating him. Give me a minute. I want to look up something, y'all. Bear with me. Make sure y'all are reaching out to your family members that is incarcerated. Make sure y'all are checking up on them. Make sure you all out there that breaks the law, that continues to break the law, make sure y'all let this be a wake-up call. Tanya says they all need to go to jail, and that's facts. All of them need to go to jail. Listen, let's go into the year 2025. Look, it's time. It's time for us, especially us of age. Like I said, I let a lot of things slide just for the simple fact I ain't got time to be given no prisons. I don't have time to be given no central bookings, no county jails, no city jails. I just don't have the time to be given any of that, any of my time. So some situations, you're going to just have to let it slide. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. All right, you got me. All right, no problem. You know what I mean? Look, let me go grab a 9 to 5. And I'm saying situations still happen. I'm not just trying to bypass it because situations do happen. But a lot of the situations we can prevent. We need to do better. And this is what I talk about on every demonstration, y'all. We have to do better. I'm not saying that you can't party and have a good time. I'm not saying that you can't keep it G. You can't. I'm not saying none of that. but we got to do better, man. We got to look at the circumstances that we are up against. So we got to do better. We got to do better to be around for our family members. We got to do better to be around for our children, our grandchildren. Our family is dependent on us, and we got to be around, because I'm telling y'all, when we get into these situations, it's our family that we are hurting the most. It's our family that we are hurting the most when we get in these situations. We running back to prison, our family is hurting. Our mothers, if any of y'all still got your mothers, it's your mother that's hurting. It's them babies. It's your baby mother. It's your wife that's hurting. You know, so we got to do better. We cannot put ourselves in these predicaments knowing what we are up against. Look, you in prison, you in jail, ain't really too much you can do. You see how we get treated on the streets? You see how we get treated on the streets? I'm trying to find something, y'all. Give me a second. Let me run the clip back, y'all. Give me a second while I find what I'm looking for.
The death of an inmate at a prison in New York after he was beaten by corrections officers. Today, New York's Attorney General released Bodycam video and called what happened shocking and disturbing. Here's Sam Brock, and a warning: this video is graphic.
Newly released shocking video shows these correctional officers fatally beating an inmate, Robert Brooks. The footage, blurred and redacted by state authorities, shows officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest and trying to jam an object down his throat. New York's Attorney General says Brooks was pronounced dead December 10th, a day after these interactions with correctional officers was recorded.
I do not take lightly the release of this video.
James says the video doesn't have audio because the officers involved failed to properly activate their body cameras. It begins with Brooks being carried inside, handcuffed and face down. He's then raised up, face bloodied, and punched in various parts of his body. Brooks was serving a 12-year sentence for stabbing his girlfriend. His attorney says his death is incomprehensible.
I was there with Mr. Brooks' son and his father and his brother. They all watched the video as well, and I think it was just the overwhelming shock. It was just felt so incomprehensible.
NBC News has not been able to reach attorneys for the 14 people under investigation, but the president for the Correction Officers Benevolent Association adding in a sharply worded statement, "The egregious and repugnant action of the officers who committed this heinous and fatal assault does not in any way reflect the values of the vast majority of correction officers, including my members."
13 personnel are currently suspended without pay. Another has resigned as the investigation continues. And yet, Tom, there are still questions tonight about what happened that led to the beating that we just saw. Tom?
So the other officers had turned off their body cam. That officer had turned off his body cam as well. See how no matter what's done in the dark still come to the light? They all turned their body cameras off. Even that officer turned it off, but it's still somehow, and they say God work in mysterious ways, and I'm not one to dispute that. I'm not one to dispute that. God works in mysterious ways. They turned their body cameras off. And even though you don't hear the audio, you're still able to see the footage. Now, he was being transferred. He was being transferred from one facility to another. And he was serving time for stabbing his girlfriend. Tony says, just tell me, why are they home and not in jail? They see what they need to see. No more to be said. Go lock them all up, all 13. And that's facts, Tanya. That's facts. Like, lock them up. Because me and you know, Tanya, if it was one of us, we'd be locked up. Salute, Zena. I see you, Zena. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in from Facebook. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in from Facebook. Salute, Zena. But if it was us, we'd be locked up. I would be locked up. And they just standing around, smirking, laughing. That man had a family. And that happened at the Marcy Correctional Facility in New York. This happened in New York. Check on y'all family members that's incarcerated. Many of y'all have family members that's been incarcerated and y'all haven't talked to them in weeks, months, years. Reach out to them, send them a letter. You know, I'm not saying be a fool for them. I'm not saying send them money and, you know, all of that, but at least check on them just to see how they're doing. Check on them to see how they are doing. Now, the Attorney General, she did speak on it. She did speak on it. And can y'all just imagine? Can y'all imagine how many incidents that this has happened where there was no footage? Can y'all imagine? Because we can only go by what they tell us. Can I get some prayer hands for Tanya Shaw and her brother? An old school friend of mine, Stanley Scott. She lost her brother while he was locked up. And they haven't gotten back to her. So we don't know what happened to Stanley. We got to do better, people. We got to do better. We cannot put ourselves in these predicaments. We can't. That's why I tell y'all in a heartbeat, I'm scared. You scared, Shank? Scared to death. That's why I move the way I move, because I know if I got that type of mentality that I'm scared, it prevents me, it keeps me from getting into certain situations where before, if I'm not scared, you know, ain't no telling what I would do. You know, I quick to tell y'all I'm corny. I quick to tell y'all I'm lame. Let me get over here with these people that's scared, corny, and lame. It keeps me out of a lot of trouble because I just don't got the time. I don't got the time. It can happen to me even when I'm not locked up. It can happen to any one of us even when we not locked up. They could just kick in my door right now, claiming that they got a warrant. We see that all the time. They have the wrong house. The warrant is not even for the person whose door that they kicked in, and they kicked the door in and end up killing this innocent person, and they had the wrong house. Look at the Sonia Massey death. She called for their help. She had a pot on the stove boiling. Yeah, Shank, but you didn't see where she tried to throw the hot water on them. See, it's always an excuse Always. Well, you know that pot shank is considered a weapon. Well, what did she mean by saying why did she call out Jesus? What was she trying to say? She provoked that officer. She shouldn't have said no. It's always something attached to us as the victim. It's always an excuse. When we are the victim, it's always an excuse to justify why they done what they done to us. And if you listen, and I'm gonna play it back at the end, they mention we don't know why the officers did what they did. I could tell y'all why they did what they did. White privilege, that played a part in it. White privilege. And second, it's what's in their heart. It's in their DNA to hate us. And I'm just calling a spade a spade. It's in white people's DNA to hate black people. Some white people have been able, some of them have been able to heal, and some of them has been able to get past that, but it's in their DNA, y'all. Just like it's in our DNA as black people to love and forgive, it's in their nature. That's why they treat us like that. Every opportunity that they get, they show us their true color. And I know white people don't like it when I talk about race issues. But y'all know, just as quick as I'll call a black person, a funky ass black person that get me wrong, in return, I'll call a white person that try to come at me with that bullshit about racism don't exist. As quick as I call a black person funky, as quick as I call a white person a funky ass white person for coming at me about racism don't exist when we see. And this ain't the only case. Salute, Miss Parker. Salute, Miss Parker. I get tired of doing these kind of demonstrations where I have to call out white people. I get tired of calling out white racist people. But y'all are no different from black people when I call out black people. Y'all are no different from the immigrants when I call out the immigrants. If you're funky, you're funky. And it don't make a difference if you're black, an immigrant, white. It don't make a difference. If you're funky, you're funky. And what they done, that shows just how funky they are. A defenseless man, and it's 8 or more of y'all. If those correctional officers aren't a bunch of funky ass white people, then I don't know what else to call them. They took that man's life. They took Robert Brooks' life. And you can look and see. They just standing around. The ones that didn't participate, they just as guilty as those that did participate. They just standing around smirking. They just standing around laughing. Like it's nothing. Don't worry about it. It's just a nigga. Nobody cares about him. That's what goes through their mind. Tanya says, sorry to say, the black in New York need to shut the city down for that one, and that is a fact. And that's facts. That's fact. Where y'all at, New York? Where y'all at, New York? Black New York, where y'all at? Because y'all know Baltimore would have tore that shit up. And other parts of America, other cities. other cities would have shut shit down. Where y'all at, Black New York? Got to call y'all out. Y'all so quick to talk about how good it is in New York. Y'all so quick to talk about when y'all go outside of New York. I could go back to New York. New York is this, New York is that. Well, what's going on up in New York? It's sad. You know what I mean? Because I'm 52 years old and I seen it all my life. I seen it all my life. But it's a big difference back then compared to now. If y'all notice, now it's more. It goes on more now. Like I can say back in the 80s and 90s, you know, they hit us over the head with the Billy Club, shit like that. They'd plant drugs on us and shit like that. They wasn't really killing us the way that they killing us today. Just take our lives like it's nothing. And I said it earlier, we are so quick to crash out on each other. Like if you go to a black person and if they got to crash out on another black person, they front and center. They ready to crash out on another black person. But when it comes to situations like this and us standing up, we won't crash out on them other nationalities. Out there in California, the Mexicans then took over California. The Mexicans then ran the niggas up out of California, the gangbangers. When it comes to working things out, if you got the Crips and if they into it with a Mexican gang, oh, they quick to work it out with a Mexican gang, vice versa. You got them Bloods, they quick to work it out with a Mexican gang out there in California. But if it's a Crip on Blood, if it's a blue on red, oh, they gonna crash out on each other. And even amongst their own, a Crip against a Crip, they gonna crash out. Look at what happened to Nipsey Hussle. One of his own homies took his life. One of his own homies took his life. And we all know what Nipsey Hussle was to not just the community out there, but Nipsey Hussle was an important figure for black people all over. Nipsey Hussle was getting work done. He was buying property. He was getting work done. And who took his life? Who took his life? And every time I try to get away from covering these cases, every time, because I do not want to cover these cases anymore. I just don't. Number one, these cases are very depressing. Salute Chen. These cases are very depressing. And then to see that we are not doing nothing about it to fix it. It's like we have become immune to it. Oh, well, it's just another nigga. Glad it wasn't me. Glad it wasn't nobody in my family. We immune.
Death of an inmate at a prison in New York after he was beaten by corrections officers. Today, New York's Attorney General released Bodycam video and called what happened shocking and disturbing. Here's Sam Brock, and a warning, this video is graphic.
Newly released shocking video shows these correctional officers fatally beating an inmate, Robert Brooks. The footage, blurred and redacted by state authorities, shows officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest and trying to jam an object down his throat. New York's Attorney General says Brooks was pronounced dead December 10th, a day after these interactions with correctional officers was recorded.
I do not take lightly the release of this video.
James says the video doesn't have audio because the officers involved failed to properly activate their body cameras. It begins with Brooks being carried inside, handcuffed and face down. He's then raised up, face bloodied, and punched in various parts of his body. Brooks was serving a 12-year sentence for stabbing his girlfriend. His attorney says his death is incomprehensible.
I was there with Mr. Brooks' son and his father and his brother. They all watched the video as well. And I think it was just the overwhelming shock. It was just felt so incomprehensible.
NBC News has not been able to reach attorneys for the 14 people under investigation, but the president for the Correction Officers Benevolent Association adding in a sharply worded statement, "The egregious and repugnant action of the officers who committed this heinous and fatal assault does not in any way reflect the values of the vast majority of correction officers, including my members."
13 personnel are currently suspended without pay. Another has resigned as the investigation continues. And yet, Tom, there are still questions tonight about what happened that led to the beating that we just saw. Tom?
There are still questions. There are still questions to what led to the beating that we just saw. What the hell do you mean? There's still questions to what led to the beating. You don't see it. You don't see it that these white correctional officers has one black inmate in shackles and handcuffs. You don't see that? Let me guess. Well, Shank Rock, maybe he spit on the officers. Well, Shank Rock, maybe he failed to comply with their orders. It didn't call for that beating that ultimately took Mr. Robert Brooks' life. Do y'all know that there's a podcast, and I'm not even going to call this podcast out. I'm not even going to promote it, but there's a podcast, and there's a white man, and he has close to 1 million subscribers. And he is saying that Derek Chauvin was railroaded. He's saying that Derek Chauvin is not the cause of George Floyd's death. And then do you know that there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of white people in the comment section that's agreeing with him? They're trying to paint this picture that the media is using Derek Chauvin. They're trying to say that, and the reason why they found Derek Chauvin guilty and sent him to prison, I believe 22 years or 28 years, the reason why they did that is to hush up Black Lives Matter, to hush up, they're trying to say that Derek Chauvin was a sacrifice. They used him to keep us quiet. If you know anything about the George Floyd death, if you seen that video footage of Derek Chauvin with his knee on George Floyd's face for 9 minutes, I believe, either 8, 9, or 12 minutes. If you seen that footage, and if you look in the face, if you look in the eyes of Derek Chauvin, he got the same kind of look in his eyes that those funky ass correctional officers got in their eyes. That same look. What? What? So what? What are you going to do? That's the look. Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck, head, I can't remember. And they're trying to say if he was able to say he can't breathe, then for surely he could breathe. Let me tell y'all, I've had situations when I couldn't breathe and I was able to say, I can't breathe. Anybody, trust me, anybody that's having breathing issues, they're going to let it be known that they can't breathe. Help, I can't breathe. But these is the games. These is the games that they try to run on us. It's always an excuse. Always an excuse. So now we're waiting. We're going to wait to find out why this happened. How can we find out what happened if Robert Brooks is no longer here to tell his side? How can we find out what happened if we can't hear no audio? Let me guess. We're going to take the words of the correctional officers. Let me tell you something about taking the words of those that are responsible for the victim's death. I just covered this last night on the Shanquella Robinson demonstration. The FBI took the words of the Cabo Six. Cabo Six been lying from the very beginning. They've been lying from the very beginning when they tried to say Shanquella was sick because alcohol poisoned it, right? Shanquella is no longer with us to tell us what happened. So the FBI took the words of the Cabo Six, even though the FBI know that the Cabo Six has been lying. They still took the word of Cabo Six. So now let's look at this case. Now they're going to take the words of those correctional officers. I promise y'all. Can I get everybody to throw up some prayer hands for Chin? Can I get everybody to throw up some prayer hands for Chin? So we'll wait. And I promise y'all, they're going to try to say that Robert Brooks tried to spit on one of them, or they're going to say, well, before we put the leg restraints on him, before we put the handcuffs on him, he swung at one of the officers. Watch. Y'all don't see that because they're going to use that. They're going to say, well, we don't see everything. We want to know, only when it comes to black people, we want to know why these officers done what they done. They don't want to look at the officers shouldn't have never done what they done in the first place. That's how we can nip it in the bud. The officers shouldn't have never done what they done in the first place. They're not going to focus on that. They're going to focus on what happened before the body cam footage comes on. So they're going to say, those correctional officers are going to say, I promise you, before the body cam footage came on, before we put him in the leg restraint, before we put him in handcuffs, he swung on some of the officers. He tried to fight some of the officers. He spit on the officer. He threw something at the officer. And that's why the officers had to put him in leg restraints. And that's why the officers had to put him in the handcuffs behind the back. But last time I checked, when you're transporting an inmate from one facility to another facility, last time I checked, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, it's been some years since I've been locked up. But last time I checked, when the inmate is being transferred, they're going to put them leg restraints on them, and he or she is going to be in handcuffs. Yes or no? But they're going to use that. I promise y'all. They're going to try to come with so many tricks. I promise y'all. Those funky ass correctional officers are going to do everything in their power to get around it. I promise y'all. Because those funky ass correctional officers, believe it or not, because of the complexion, they have some protection. And you can believe that. You can believe that the hierarchies are going to do their best to protect them. I promise y'all, we see it over and over again. We got to go in the year 2025 doing better. And I'm going to tell y'all, as black people, our biggest concern, and this is what has been happening to us for hundreds and hundreds of years, our biggest concern is when we get our shit together and we build our own communities, when we build our own institutions, when we have our own black-owned businesses like we had before, they're going to do the same thing that they did to Black Wall Street down there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all over the country. They're going to be so jealous and they're going to be so envy of us that they are going to try to come in our communities and burn down our communities. For those non-blacks, that's racist and always quick to say, Shank Rock, can we stop talking about race? No. Until y'all get it through y'all funky, thick skulls that as black people, this is what we have to go through. Even when we're doing the right thing, even when we ain't worried about funky ass white folks, when we doing the right thing, when we got our own thing going on, y'all funky white people always come and destroy what we done built. Do y'all homework. Do y'all homework. Do y'all homework. Tanya says, but Rock, we don't stick together. And that's so true. That's so true. We don't stick together. But even in that, with us not sticking together, we still can make magic. We still can make things happen, because back in the early days of Black Wall Street, we didn't stick together. You still had the house slave, you had the field slave. We were fresh out of slavery. And even during those times, some black folks didn't want to build. Some black folks wanted to stay as close to master as possible. But you're so right, Tanya. We don't stick together. And it's sad because that's how we got in the predicament that we got in. We didn't stick together. We let those funky ass white people manipulate us. We let them manipulate us. But why is it when we got something good going on, why do white folks want to destroy it? Why? Why do y'all hate us that much? And this is why when I be giving my demonstrations and those funky white folks be trying to come for me on my demonstrations, I be trying to tell y'all, do y'all really want me to give some history? Do y'all really want me to teach history? Do y'all really want me to? I just be playing around with history when I be giving it to them. When I talk about the Moors going up in Europe and civilizing Europe, who you think the Moors were? The Moors were us. We went up in Europe. Now, we didn't do to white folks what white folks do to us. We civilized white folks. We taught y'all how to bath. We taught y'all how to take care of y'all children. We taught y'all how to cook. We taught y'all science, arts, mathematics. We civilized y'all. We could have easily killed y'all off, but we didn't. But look at how y'all treat us. Look at how y'all treat us. Right? Look at the way that y'all treat us. We ain't do y'all like that. When y'all was down and out, when y'all was up in them caves up in Europe, I'm live on my backup channel. All right, talk to me later. All right. That's why I tell y'all, don't come for the old man. Don't come for the old man. I be sparing y'all on them demonstrations with y'all funky white asses. I be sparing y'all. But we civilized y'all. When they talk about the dark ages and all, that's y'all history. When they talk about the Caucasus, the cavemen and all of them, the Neanderthal men, that's y'all history, not us. That wasn't our history. That's y'all history. His story. That's when y'all was up in the Caucasus Mountains, eating, couldn't cook, lost the knowledge. Y'all up in the Caucasus Mountains having sex with animals, committing all kind of sexual, demonic, going through all kind of, oh man. And even to this day, y'all don't like to eat y'all meats well done. Where y'all get that from? From when y'all was up in the Caucasus Mountains. We taught y'all, remember? Go back to the 1700s and the 1800s on them plantations. Who took care of them white babies? Them black women. That's how they got the name mammies. The mammies took care of them Caucasian babies. Huh? The black woman was good enough to nurse y'all babies, but the black woman wasn't good enough to eat in the same restaurants that y'all ate in. Huh? Come on, funky white people. Don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. Seriously. How come is it whenever it's time to teach history, when you look on them shows and they teaching history, why it ain't no black people teaching? Why is always the white people? Why when it comes time to talk about the pyramids, why is always white people talking about the pyramids? How come it's never nobody black talking about the pyramids? And when the white people talk about the pyramids, what they always say, it had to be some people from another planet. It had to be people with some kind of higher intellectual. Yeah, the niggas. The niggas. Before y'all enslaved us and taught us and programmed us with the bullshit. The fairy tale, Santa Claus, Easter, and all of that. Do y'all know exactly what you have when you have a black man, a black woman, and a black child? If we're left unbothered, do y'all know? Do you know every time when you look at a black man Do you know what you're looking at? Every time you look at that black woman, do you really know? Do you really know how great a black woman is? And it ain't to take away from no other nationality of women. It's not. But I'm telling y'all, hands down, nobody can fuck with a black woman. When a black woman is on her A game, a black man can't even fuck with a black woman when she's on her A game. Hands down. Hands down. I ain't talking about with the bullshit. I ain't talking about the twerking. I ain't talking about that black woman. Nah. But do you know the qualities that's in a black woman? Do you know what she brings to the table? Do you know the ingredients that black woman is made up of? Why do you think them white babies was being nursed by the black women? If I'm lying, somebody correct me right now. Go back to the days on the plantation. And even when we came off the plantation, them white babies was being breastfed by the black woman. Show me a black baby that was being breastfed by a white woman. Show it to me. Show it to me. Y'all playing with God. That's all I'm saying. Y'all playing with God. And I do believe in a higher power. Y'all playing with God's creation that y'all want to destroy. Y'all want to kill. Get rid of the niggas. Kill us all. And see where y'all funky asses will be at. Y'all wouldn't stand a chance. I promise y'all, the hour that you get rid of the niggas, that'll be the hour. You think it's black on black crime? The only reason why it's not a lot of white on white crime, because we are around. And they got their foot on our neck. And they are getting rich off of us. We are their bloodline. Take us out of the equation. What in the hell do you think y'all funky ass whites was doing up in the Caucasus Mountains? You had that clan of whites. And even today, it's white on white crime. It just don't get broadcast. It don't get promoted the way that black on black crime get promoted. Why? Why? Ask yourself why. But take us out of the equation. Y'all wouldn't survive a day. Y'all wouldn't survive a day, because then y'all will be at each other's neck. Why? You ain't got the niggas to push around no more. You ain't got the niggas to bully when you get pissed off. Leave us alone. That's all any black person want from any white person. Just leave us alone, man. Leave us alone. We don't bother y'all. We don't come to y'all for nothing. We don't come to y'all for music. Y'all come to us for music. We don't come to y'all for nothing. Nothing. Y'all come to us. Let that sink in.
Death of an inmate at a prison in New York after he was beaten by corrections officers. Today, New York's Attorney General released Bodycam video and called what happened shocking and disturbing. Here's Sam Brock, and a warning. This video is graphic.
Newly released shocking video shows these correctional officers fatally beating an inmate, Robert Brooks. The footage, blurred and redacted by state authorities, shows officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest and trying to
If that was a bunch of black correctional officers, a couple of them correctional officers would have tried to stop them other black correctional officers. See, for us as black people, we look at fighting and beating on white people, we look at that as you being weak. Because we going to look at it and we going to be like, yo, leave that white boy alone, yo, fuck with me. There's going to be a black person talking to another black person. When we look at a black person, black people beating on one white person, we going to look at it as them black people is weak. Yo, why y'all fucking with the white boy? Come fuck with me. See, if I'm lying, I'm flying. I know every black person, even the females. The females are attest to that. If we see black people fucking with somebody white, we'll take up for that white person. Yes or no? Yes or no? Ain't nowhere in the world we gonna sit around and watch 4 or 5 black niggas beating up one white boy. We gonna say that's weak. Yo, why you fucking with the white boy? You know the white boy can't fight. Fuck with me. But they don't do us like that. See what I'm saying? Y'all notice that when it comes to them beating our asses, they not gonna stop it. They gonna jump in and help beat the nigga ass. And if they don't put hands on the nigga, they gonna sit back and laugh with smirks on their face. They ain't gonna intervene. They ain't gonna intervene. But with us, we gonna intervene. Let us see black people beating up a white boy. We gonna intervene. Because we're going to look at it as being weak. We got to do better, y'all. We got to do better. We got to do better. I'm not saying not have fun. I'm not saying that. But we got to do better. And maybe what I'm saying is going on death's door. Maybe it's just going in one ear and out the other ear. I don't know. But all I could do is just deliver what's on my heart. Now y'all could take it and, however y'all want. We got to do better. We got to stop fighting each other. We got to stop going against each other. When one black person is doing a good job, we got to stop trying to tear it down. We got to stop saying, see, I wouldn't do it like how he doing it. See, I wouldn't do it like how she doing it. I would do it like this. Well, you take your funky black ass and do it then. Do y'all ever notice that? Do y'all ever notice that? You'll get a bunch of funky ass black people. They'll see the work that you're doing. And instead of them jumping in and building with you, they insist on doing it better than what you are doing. Y'all are some of the most funky ass black people. Y'all more funkier as black people than those funky ass white people. When those funky ass white people discriminate against us. Y'all funky ass black people ain't no better. Y'all just as worse as they are. You be sitting and you be like, God damn, my man, he really doing it. You got those blacks that's going to be on the side. See, I wouldn't do it like that. See, how he doing it, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna last. See, how she doing it, that shit ain't gonna work. Ain't nobody gonna buy her stuff. That's why I said, and I say it again, and I'm gonna keep on saying it. I'm glad that Donald Trump didn't hire no black funky asses. I'm so glad. We crying about that. But see, Donald Trump racist, because Donald Trump, he ain't hired no black people. What did those funky ass black people do that Biden hired? Not a damn thing. I'm just calling a spade a spade. Y'all will thank me for this demonstration later. And I'd rather have y'all thank me for keeping it real than the bullshit with y'all And then later on, y'all pull me up and be like, damn, Shank, why you ain't keep it real with me? I'd rather keep it real with y'all now, because I know later on, y'all will come back and thank me. Y'all will come back later on than to keep bullshitting with y'all, keep lying to y'all, like those funky ass black preachers that's always selling dreams. The funky ass black preacher, go tell your preacher, send your preacher this. Instead of putting the money in the collection plate on Sundays, put this demonstration in the collection plate and watch how your preacher react. Your preacher gonna say, well, what the hell is this? Shank rock? Oh, hell no. Blasphemy. I plead to Jesus. Because they know Shank Rock keep it real. Your black preachers know about Shank Rock. They know Shank keep it real. But send this to your black preacher, those funky asses. Keep lying to y'all. Keep sugarcoating shit to y'all. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of the bullshit from all angles. I'm tired. And if you funky, you funky. And I'm going to call it out. Don't think I'm just going to call out a bunch of funky white people. Don't think I'm going to call out just a bunch of funky black people. Don't think I'm going to just call out a bunch of funky immigrants. I'm calling everybody out. I'm calling everybody out. We got to do better. I ain't going to hold y'all that much longer. But I had to get this off of my chest. And I don't know who's going to hear it. I don't know. But I had to get it off my chest. Because I know if I call a spade, I know if I keep it real, I know y'all will thank me later. I know if I bullshit with y'all, I know that I haven't done my job. You know, because in the beginning, it was the word. I ain't talking about the word that those funky ass black preachers be preaching. Nah, motherfucker, I ain't talking about that. Don't get it twisted. I'm talking about the word. That's what I'm talking about, keeping it real. I ain't talking about talking Jesus. I'm talking about walking Jesus. That's what I'm talking about. And the second, when we start calling them out, it's going to be better for us. It's going to be better for us. And I ain't just talking about the funky ass black preachers. I'm talking about those funky ass black Muslims that ain't in the community, uplifting the community. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The black churches ain't the only religious organizations that let our people down. I don't care about how many times you make salat. I don't care how well you speak in Arabic. You ain't in the Middle East. You talking in Arabic ain't going to benefit you in a country that don't speak Arabic. Those Arabs could give a damn about you. So stop thinking that the Arabs are any better than those funky white people. Stop thinking like that. I'm tired, and y'all should be tired too. I'm going to run this clip one more time, and then we're going to get out of here. I hope everybody have a wonderful day, and I hope that you all was able to get something out of this demonstration. I'll run the clip, and then we can get on up out of here.
The death of an inmate at a prison in New York after he was beaten by corrections officers. Today, New York's Attorney General released Bodycam video and called what happened shocking and disturbing. Here's Sam Brock, and a warning, this video is graphic.
Newly released shocking video shows these correctional officers fatally beating an inmate, Robert Brooks. The footage, blurred and redacted by state authorities, shows officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest and trying to jam an object down his throat. New York's Attorney General says Brooks was pronounced dead December 10th, a day after these interactions with correctional officers was recorded.
I do not take lightly the release of this video.
James says the video doesn't have audio because the officers involved failed to properly activate their body cameras. It begins with Brooks being carried inside, handcuffed and face down. He's then raised up, face bloodied, and punched in various parts of his body. Brooks was serving a 12-year sentence for stabbing his girlfriend. His attorney says his death is incomprehensible.
I was there with Mr. Brooks' son and his father and his brother. They all watched the video as well, and I think it was just the overwhelming shock. It was just felt so incomprehensible.
NBC News has not been able to reach attorneys for the 14 people under investigation, but the president for the Correction Officers Benevolent Association adding in a sharply worded statement, "The egregious and repugnant action of the officers who committed this heinous and fatal assault does not in any way reflect the values of the vast majority of correction officers, including my members."
13 personnel are currently suspended without pay. Another has resigned as the investigation continues. And yet, Tom, there are still questions tonight about what happened that led to the beating that we just saw. Tom?
What went wrong with the Baltimore City Police Department and Freddie Gray?
Give me a Mac and a 9 and I'm armed to do it. I had them slugs run up in you like embalming fluid. I'm out that mob and I got the scars to prove it. What's the point of holding heat without the heart to use it? Cops are clueless, so they can't stop the movement. I'm a YG nigga and the Glock is ruthless. FM is the main attraction. Aim the Gatlin and watch niggas fall like it's a chain reaction. Mainly stacking, now that the game is lacking. I'm the first in command and shank rocks the captain. And my flow changed from white gold to platinum. I put the yay down, cutty. Now I'm finally rapping. Better lay down, buddy, or you know what I had.
The first thing that went wrong was they pursued her. They never were supposed to pursue her. They didn't have probable cause to pursue her.
This is real Baltimore. No. This is what people have to wake up and wonder where they're going to go to get them in.
That wasn't the first riot. The first riots happened with when the Baltimore banks made bad investments. You had a riot that was known as the Baltimore Bank Riot. I don't want to make it seem like I'm bashing the mother of the year, but we have to look at how they played that whole situation. It goes back to the old Willie Lynch. When she went upside his head and smacked him and everything. Now, if I'd done it, a black man would have done that on national television. They would have locked me up.
I'm from the city that reads, my city still bleeds. And homicides multiply like cops with keys, you do the math. On my block you won't last, says a youngin' had to be gunning and you won't last. Don't show me a cannon, my reach too fast, don't think I wasn't. Got the rumor mill buzzing, my hootin' sent your cousin back to you with a concussion. Just cause my teeth is flashing, didn't think that I would blast him. Not unless he touched my faction, and we gotta get the mashing. A DE will be catching, rest in pieces with they tagging. You never catch me bragging, that's the code I live by gladly. Protect me and my family, cause silence is a virtue. Then them boys, they come to hurt you, and who you gon' run to? They labeled you a cold blue, now your own family don't know you. Your neighborhood don't trust you, now see all the issues go through. Snitches get stitches, man, for running your mouth in my block. Not the corner, not the wire, where the cops cocking fire. Ain't no way to get you higher, it's my block.
Now let me take it elementary school. The man has to step up and take his full responsibility back into the community. Your OGs, I need the OGs to be real OGs, man, and let the young ones know that it's not about banging that gun. It's not about killing, but you know, teach them, man. Look, go to school, get an education.
We out that mall, and it's simple and plain. Lane that we headed to the top of the game.
I want to welcome everybody to the rebirth of Shank. For those that know me, no. And for those who don't know me, I hope you had a chance to get to know me.
Period.
So you wouldn't have a problem with a man taking charge, even if you made
no. He has to take charge. I don't want no man that I can, you know what I'm saying, that I take charge of. Nah.
A lack of finance, resources, and some other things is a probable cause for anyone to suffer from mental illness.
No, she's not. She spreads lies. She wants to humiliate the moms. That's what she does.
I wanted to bring you guys breaking news. Only vote because other people vote for this person or that person. Let me ask you, do you really know why you are a Democrat? Do you really know why you are a Republican? Do you really know why? Do you really know why you voted for Trump? Do you know why you voted for Biden? These are questions that I need for you to answer. For everybody that's catching this on the replay, please leave a comment in the comment section and let me know why you are Democrat. Let me know why you are Republican. Because believe it or not, many of y'all are Democrats because your family members was Democrats. Many of y'all are Republicans because your spouse is a Republican. Many of y'all don't know why you are Democrat or Republican. Now, this is what